provided by Thomas Allgaier and Frennis, based on the most relevant posts on LinkedIn about future mobility and market evolution in calendar weeks 31 and 32. Frennis is a B2B market research company working with enterprises to optimize their campaigns with account and executive insights far beyond AI. Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we unpack the most vital insights from the world of mobility. Today, we're taking a close look at the top future mobility trends that emerged across LinkedIn, in late July and early August.
That's right. And this isn't just, a recap of what's been happening. It's really about understanding what's next, how these shifts are fundamentally altering our cities, our movements, and the very technology underpinning it all. We've distilled this directly from the most relevant conversations and reports shared by industry leaders, giving you the real nuggets of insight.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Our first big theme today is all about micromobility and shared mobility. It really feels like urban transformation is, accelerating, doesn't it? These smaller shared solutions are becoming increasingly significant in how cities function. What stood out to you most about this rapid evolution?
That's a great question, because it's not just about, more bikes and scooters. It's about a complete rethink of urban transport. David Reed, for example, he offered some really practical, unsolicited advice on how to make bike and scooter sharing systems truly sustainable. He pointed to the challenge of unpredictable public funding, his suggestion, partnering with local transit agencies right from day one. Because, get this, a huge 70% of riders actually use these shared options for transit connection.
7%, wow.
Yeah. And he emphasized working with local nonprofits, too, exploring diverse business models beyond just, government grants. It's a very grounded perspective.
That point about unpredictable funding is critical, definitely. It just makes sense to look for sustainable models. But beyond the funding, what about actual rider behavior? Are we seeing people genuinely shift away from cars for shorter trips? Or is that still more theoretical for many cities?
Oh, absolutely. And Karim Diatoubaji's analysis of UK trip distances gives us a pretty clear answer there. He found that cars still dominate once shopping trips go past just 1 mile.
Just 1 mile?
1 mile, yeah. Think about that. Suddenly the car is king. This reveals, as he put it, an enormous opportunity for micromobility. He even noted how car trip share is, quote, hemorrhaging in European cities like London. So the potential for, say, cargo-friendly shared mobility services to make a massive impact there is huge.
That's fascinating. It really highlights where the low-hanging fruit is, right?
Yeah.
So if people could shift away from cars for these short trips, what does that mean for how we design our cities? Frederick Hulme, for instance, he has this really bold vision.
Yeah, I saw that.
Mayors cutting car lanes by half, creating bike superhighways and public spaces. We're talking trees, food trucks, cafes. He's basically saying micromobility is not a side project anymore. It's infrastructure, and it needs room.
Exactly. It's demanding space.
And Hashin Afatayerji calls this micromobility 2.0, describing it as smarter, safer, and more strategic. He points to operator consolidation, like the Neuron and Beam merger.
Right.
And even new light EV spinoffs, like Rivian's also, that's their new urban delivery vehicle division. Plus, there are stricter safety rules coming, geofencing, smart parking, AI-based sidewalk detection.
And that data-driven approach is absolutely key to making these visions, actually happen. Take Thibaut Castagne's partnership with eMobility down in Hobart, Australia. They're using sensor-based speed reduction, sidewalk riding detection, and then turning that raw vehicle data into real-time regulation and, crucially, long-term urban planning insights. It's like a literal blueprint for how public authorities, mobility operators, and tech platforms can really collaborate effectively. It's not just about more vehicles, it's about making them part of a smarter, safer urban fabric.
So is this actually translating into fewer emissions then? Or is it still more aspirational at this stage?
No, it's definitely translating. Florian Weber's update from Italy shows shared mobility is rapidly shifting to electric fleets. We're talking 26% EV adoption in shared fleets compared to just, 0.5% for private cars?
26% versus 0.5%. That's huge.
Exactly. This is actively bridging transport gaps and cutting emissions right now.
That rapid electrification is genuinely impressive. But how does this play out on the ground in, say, local communities like here in the U.S.? We saw an interesting discussion from Austin Spademan, Erica Duthley, and Dorona Moore-Clark about Richmond, Virginia's programs, e-scooters and bike share.
Oh yeah, Richmond.
It turns out e-scooters are more popular, they generate revenue, while the city-run bike share, though vital, operates at an estimated annual loss. But here's the smart part. They have a collaboration, not competition mindset. The scooter permit fees actually help fund the bike share.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah, it's a really neat way to boost transport accessibility and sustainability together.
It's a great model for funding, showing how different modes can actually support each other. However, it's not always perfectly efficient. Felix Waldner's research on European bike-sharing systems, it revealed some surprising underutilization, like less than one ride per bike per day, especially for the electric ones.
Less than one ride a day.
Yeah, that points to some huge optimization potential, probably from operational inefficiencies. So while the enthusiasm for micromobility is high, the practical side still needs fine-tuning. Optimizing these services is key to realizing their full potential. But what this all really boils down to is that micromobility isn't a fringe idea anymore. It's becoming a foundational pillar of future urban design. The real insight here is how quickly cities are recognizing this, shifting from just cars to integrated, people-first solutions for sustainability and, well, just better living.
Okay, so that leads us nicely into our next big theme, cities reimagined, focusing on that people-first urban design and integrated transport.
Exactly. This isn't just about adding new ways to move. It's about fundamentally rethinking urban spaces for human well-being.
Right, and some cities are taking really bold steps. Guillermo Campomore highlighted Berlin's move banning cars from a downtown zone larger than Manhattan.
Larger than Manhattan, wow.
Yeah, the ambition is huge. Cut carbon, improve air quality, help local businesses, boost community well-being. It's more than just transport policy. It's a statement about what a city is for.
Totally.
And Mitch Merker's New Urbania concept reinforces this. He challenges the idea of end of driving alone just because you can. Advocating for micromobility, shared transit, smarter infrastructure. It sounds like a real rejection of that old car-centric planning.
It absolutely is. And it's not just about removing cars either. It's also about smarter, more sustainable infrastructure development. Anja Jarks reported Hamburg's success in building more, cutting down less. They invested massively in modern mobility infrastructure, cycle paths, roads, rail, while reducing tree felling.
So it is possible then.
It shows infrastructure expansion doesn't have to trash green spaces. And Michael Bartnick's update on Berlin's Jelby stations, their platform for multimodal access, expanding to 20% of S+U train stations. That's significant. 40% of Jelby rentals now start from train stations. It indicates micromobility, scooters, bikes. They're seen as a useful addition for that first last mile of public transport, not just, for fun rides on a Sunday.
Those integrated systems are crucial, definitely. Shifting gears slightly, what about broader policy debates? Austin Good had an interesting proposal.
In Colorado, right?
Yeah, redirecting state funding from the, frankly, limited Front Range passenger rail. It costs $83 million a year for just 3 round trips a day.
Only 3. Yikes.
Right. He suggests expanding Colorado's Bustang bus program instead, which is proven effective. He argues this could achieve European-level regional transit frequencies, and Elise Jones celebrated Bustang as convenient, low-cost, stress-free, climate-friendly. It makes you wonder if maybe the best solution isn't always the flashiest one.
That's a really keen observation. Optimize what works. And beyond efficiency, accessibility is a huge factor, often overlooked. Mark Moran brought up a report emphasizing mobility hubs as essential to close gaps for disabled travelers. It cited findings that nearly 48% of disabled people feel accessibility just isn't a government priority.
That's stark.
It really underscores the need for these human-centric designs to be truly inclusive.
Absolutely critical point. And Emil Pabst, I think, really nailed the core philosophy here. He just said, cities are there for people. Simple as that. He directly challenges planning cities as if cars are the main target group, especially when 30% of Germans don't even have cars. It's about mobility as social infrastructure.
Yeah.
It genuinely feels like a paradigm shift towards human-centric urbanism is gaining real momentum, doesn't it?
It really does. Designing spaces that serve people's needs, not just parking spots for their vehicles.
Okay, now let's pivot to the tech side, the autonomous horizon and the digital backbone. This is where innovation really takes flight, you could say?
Indeed. And some of the predictions are pretty wild. Marcus Rettstadt shared some eye-opening stuff, revealing that AI-driven telefleets are apparently set to reach level 4 autonomy with minimal human intervention by 2026.
2026? That's soon.
Right. And what's truly astonishing is the projection. One human operator managing 100-plus vehicles simultaneously.
One person over 100 vehicles.
Yeah. Potentially crashing operating costs below, get this, 0.1 kilometers. He argues this makes level 4 profitable basically everywhere.
Wow, okay. That's a game changer if it pans out.
And Matthias Braun's Auto Snacks Weekly highlighted the Uber and Lucid Motors deal 20,000 vehicles for robotaxis, emphasizing how partnerships are the secret sauce for scaling in this space. Collaboration is clearly vital for these massive projects.
This sounds like the future is arriving very, very quickly indeed. But how does this play out in terms of global competition? Dejan Kovac painted a pretty stark picture.
Yeah, that was sobering.
He stated China is racing ahead in autonomous mobility, the U.S. is trailing behind, and his words, the EU doesn't show up on the map at all. He points to constraints in capital, coordination, and deployment strategy in Europe, and even a U.S. brain drain potentially linked to immigration policy.
That's a huge concern, especially when you look back. Sergio Gelita dug up this incredible historical parallel, England's 1865 Red Flag Act.
The Red Flag Act, what was that?
It literally required a person to walk in front of a motor vehicle, waving a red flag, limiting speeds to 2 miles an hour.
2 miles an hour, seriously?
Seriously, sounds like a joke, but Gelita argues it fundamentally crippled the early UK automotive industry. He contrasts this with the US today, where Waymo's passed 100 million fully autonomous miles. Tesla's aiming for hundreds of thousands of robotaxis by late 2026, with a purpose-built Cybercab maybe under $30. Gelita's point is Europe might be repeating the past with heavy regulation, risk aversion, and red tape.
That historical context is really compelling and, yeah, a bit concerning if that's the track we're on again. Beyond autonomy itself, what about the broader digital infrastructure holding all this together? Because it's not just the vehicles, is it?
Precisely. The digital backbone is critical. Hans Christian Henbeck notes that AI-powered intersection monitoring is already boosting safety for commercial transport, and is rapidly evolving towards fatigue detection, predictive analytics, even highway applications like revolutionizing merge zones.
Okay, so smarter roads too.
And John Swearinga detailed EchoStar's agreement with MDA Space for a new LEO low Earth orbit direct-to-device satellite network, integrating with 5G to provide true global 5G mobility. So ubiquitous connectivity.
Right.
And Manuel Herzog from Tier Mobility really hammered home the need for digital integration in public transport. He argued users need a seamless experience, not 5 apps and 3 login processes. His take. Mobility needs to be smart or it will stop.
No kidding. The pace of change here is just astounding, and it's crystal clear that policy decisions made now will dictate who leads in this autonomous, digitally driven future. It's not just about the tech, it's about how we embrace it, or, well, don't.
Which brings us neatly to our final theme. Let's explore the evolving business models, policies, and industry challenges. This is all about the strategic and financial shifts shaping mobility's future. Because, all this innovation has to be paid for and navigated somehow.
Yeah, this is where the rubber truly meets the road, isn't it? We saw examples of real policy friction, like Gulen Erdogan describing hundreds of drivers protesting in Munich against proposed minimum prices for ride-hailing.
Right, the pricing debate.
They argue it'll just increase fares, reduce flexibility, and ultimately push more people back into their private cars. Bolt, the company involved, clearly believes mobility must stay flexible, affordable, and inclusive.
It's a tough balance.
And James Midmer shared mixed feelings about a proposed UK ban on drivers over 70 who fail compulsory eye tests. He sees a huge opportunity for shared transport, sure, but questions if it really targets the biggest risks, like speeding or phone use by younger drivers, and what support older people actually need if they lose their license. It's complex.
It absolutely is. These are difficult issues, balancing public safety, individual liberty, economic impact. From an industry angle, Matthias Braun calls for agility and resilience in the auto industry's transformation. He points to Ford's European strategy shifts, OEMs recalibrating their targets, Porsche AG's cost-cutting. He highlights AI and market consolidation, like GM rolling out AI features, Geely acquiring Zcar as defining factors now.
So lots of adaptation.
In Timo Muller's analysis of investment trends, it also revealed deeper structural changes happening, even if overall investment seems steady. It suggests a strategic reevaluation is definitely underway.
So companies are really having to adapt on the fly, and it seems like corporate mobility itself is changing too, not just how consumers get around.
You're spot on. Bogdan Klipici reported Romania's corporate mobility market is shifting dramatically away from owned fleets towards flexible, digital, and on-demand solutions. It's driven by cost efficiency, sure, but also employee preference for convenient, sustainable, and hassle-free transport options. Sustainability is becoming a core strategic priority for businesses.
That makes sense.
And Gunnar highlighted that the Blue Angel Eco-label in Germany, their environmental certification, well, for car sharing, It'll now only go to providers who can actually make their traffic relieving effect transparent. It emphasizes car sharing's role in really reducing car numbers, not just shifting trips. It's about proving the benefit.
That's a smart move for accountability. But with all these global shifts, are different regions pursuing fundamentally different strategies? Are some, well, falling behind?
That's definitely the impression you get from some analyses. Saran Anagnosti offered a particularly sharp critique of Europe. He described it as, quote, a place where other people bring the tech, build the fleets, and write the software while the local economy observes.
Ouch.
Yeah. He cited Lyft partnering with Baidu for robotaxis in Europe, while Hanhai Foxconn pivots from EV plants to building AI servers in the U.S. because AI has margins and tailwinds. EVs not have neither. His conclusion. Europe risks becoming an open-air museum.
Wow, that's a tough take. But on the flip side, we have Samir Sherfin highlighting the Kenitra Industrial Complex inauguration.
In Morocco, yeah. Stellantis.
Exactly. Signaling Stellantis' expanded production there. They're projecting 535,000 vehicles a year, including micromobility, plus 204,000 EV chargers annually, new three-wheel EVs, alongside significant local sourcing and 3,000 new jobs. That's presented as a vision of sustainable growth. So maybe not every region is just observing.
These contrasting examples really just underscore the complex interplay, don't they?
Yeah.
Technology, market forces, policy, they're all shaping the future of mobility globally. It's clear there are many paths being forged at the same time, each with its own challenges, its own opportunities, and yeah, some regions definitely seem more proactive than others right now.
Well, if you enjoyed this deep dive, new episodes drop every 2 weeks. Also check out our other editions on electrification and battery technology, next-gen vehicle intelligence, and commercial fleet insights.
As we've seen today, the mobility landscape is transforming at just an incredible pace. It's driven by innovation, by urban reimagination, and by some really critical policy decisions. So this raises, I think, an important question for you listening. In a world where car lanes might become bike superhighways and AI manages fleets of vehicles, what new challenges and maybe what profound opportunities will emerge for you, the mobility professional, in the next, say, 12 to 24 months?
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into future mobility and market evolution. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive.